Hey guys, it's Pete and welcome back to the Kubota Monster channel. The video that you're about to watch is the second half of my delivery of my Kubota Monster when Neil and my salesman came to drop it off. I had the pleasure of having Neil do my walk around and my overview of my new tractor. I didn't cut out a lot, just some really dead spots. There was a lot of banter just going back and forth, and my salesman would chime in every now and then to say something. So I pretty much left it as raw as possible. The audio quality isn't the greatest because this was before I got a microphone. So it's whatever the GoPro picked up. But I thought it was pretty cool, and hope you guys enjoy it. And as always, thank you guys for tuning in, and see you next time. Hey, what's up guys, it's Pete, and we're back here on the Kubota Monster channel, and I have a very special guest who's going to do my new tractor walk around with me. I wasn't able to go through the typical scenario of going to the dealer and purchasing a tractor, and then having my salesman, who is actually holding my camera right now, thank you Justin, to do a walk around with me like you would when you purchase a vehicle of any type, really. So I get to do it with Mr. Neil Messick here. Thank you. Sure. Appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. So I'll leave it to you here.
Okay. Now. So we'll do. This is actually fairly typical for us to do with every customer. So our sales guys deliver probably 7 out of 10 machines that we sell. So this is something that's normally done in somebody's driveway. So when you're on our lot going through and looking for a piece of equipment, we're going to talk a lot about capacities and function and that kind of stuff. But that's kind of a different conversation than what we have once we're in your driveway now, right? And we're going through actually owning one of these things. So we'll start up here in the cab and walk through all the controls. Okay. So we're going to start on the left-hand side of the machine. So if you look down there by your hand, you've got 2 yellow levers. Okay. Those are going to be your PTO. So you have one is going to select which PTO you run. You got one that's going to run the mid, one the rear, and one both. You use both for like that bagger that you've got, right, where you need to run your deck and the bagger at the same time. The other lever there is your engagement lever, so you just push that guy forward and it's hydraulically going to engage all the clutches on the machine to turn your PTOs on. So pretty easy. Okay. We hop over to the other fender over here, kind of sticking with all the fender controls first. The black lever is going to take your mower deck up and down. And that, in order to set the height on that, you've got a dial down there between your legs at your 1 through 5. So when you want to change that, you want to raise your mower deck up, turn your dial to set your stop point, and then lower it back down again. The orange levers are all going to be related to movement in some fashion. So the one there is going to be your 4-wheel drive, right? And the other one is your high or low control. Up on the dash is your throttle. You'll notice that's also orange. Again, movement related, right? Okay. So gear selectors, throttles, all that movement related stuff is always coded orange on all of these tractors.
Now what's the ideal position and PTO speed just for mowing the grass?
So on the tack there, you'll see there's actually a loader mower range up there. Okay. And then specifically one marked 540 for the PTO. So when you're mowing, you want to run up to that 540 mark to get your blades going as fast as they need to. But if you're going to be doing loader backhoe work, you could slow down into that upper range there where you have hydraulic flow and pressure, but not necessarily running the machine so wide open that it's burning fuel and it's loud and that kind of thing.
Okay. But for mowing the grass, we're going to be in high and 540 PTO.
You got it.
For other work, low, and in the loader backhoe area. Yep. Okay.
Your right-hand loader stick there is going to obviously operate your loader, right? So front and back to go up and down, left and right to curl the bucket. And when you push the whole way forward, if you give it a good push there, you feel that detent, right? That goes into float. So that'll take your loader cylinder there and allow that to float up and down. So as you're pushing the snow off of your driveway here and you go down or up or down the driveway, it allows the bucket to contour and not dig up the asphalt. Okay. You have a third function kit. So on your loader stick there, you've got 2 buttons there on your thumbs. or one button rather. So that's good. That's going to operate the diverter. So when you hit that button to switch to the diverter and then move the stick, it's going to flip to operating your third function rather than your curl circuit there.
Is it a one push or is it a hold?
One push and hold.
Push and hold.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. You'll hear guys talk about the difference between a third function and a diverter. So this is a true third function diverter. This is a diverter. So you'll one button to activate it, and then you work your loader stick left to right in order to operate the hydraulic function. Okay. Because that is on the loader stick, that little white button down there is a disable button for the third function. So if you want to say turn the thing off so you don't bump the button for some reason because your hand's sitting right on there, you can just hit that to turn it on or off.
Okay. Easy enough?
Easy enough. That is all the fender controls. Okay.
Out.
You want to come around and get the dash? Get out of here as soon as you can, right?
That's fine, it's fine.
Okay.
It's actually a nice cross breeze.
Up on the dash you have the obviously throttle, key switch, there's a tilt for your steering wheel right down here, and your turn signals, headlights, and four ways on that little cluster. As long as you have the four ways on and the orange triangle on the back, you have all of the like marking equipment that's required to drive down the side of a road like a piece of farm machinery. So it has all that safety stuff on it when you get to this class of tractor. Other stuff on here: temp, fuel, tack, obviously. A bunch of idiot lights up on here for different stuff that might pop up, but pretty self-explanatory. Cool. We talked about your range selector. Okay, so with all of your hills and stuff around here, you're probably going to end up doing most of your work in low, just because when you start crawling a hill in high, you'll hear the transmission whining and that kind of thing. So low is going to work for you most of the time. High is going to be more of a transport range. Hydrostatic pedals down on the floor. The harder you press that down, you can think of it as being the higher gear that you're in. So a lot of times guys, when they want to go, like we mash pedals, right? And you're actually doing, for a hydrostatic transmission, harm in that as you push it up into relief. So if you need power, like to push into a pile of dirt, being gentle on that pedal is going to give you the power versus mashing it and going.
Gotcha.
Questions?
No, not right now. With all that stuff, pretty self-explanatory.
The fun thing has been with like videos and stuff is that our delivery process has changed. Like, so many guys are watching this stuff now. They know all of this,
and it's like me too. And a couple people have even commented on some of my videos where, Pete, you don't even have the machine, but you seem to be very familiar with it. And that's from watching your videos and you know all the videos, as much as videos as I can, from unhooking the FEL, the backhoe, stuff like that. So
a lot of guys anymore are just
drop and go,
drop it and see ya, because I know, like I've seen it all already, and so we still do this for the guys that don't watch, but it is absolutely surprising how many people are.
Well, and when you start and you go through loader, backhoe, snowblower, mower deck, it's a lot of information to take in 45 minutes. Where I always say, hey, you can always go back to Neil's videos, or if you're getting into putting that snowblower on that we talked about 6 months ago, hey, give me a call. I got no problem running back out and helping you. Now, you being 3 hours away, we're going to try to do it over the phone before I jump in the truck.
Yes. So it's a 6-hour day for them, not counting the time that they're staying here. So it's really appreciated. So, pros, cons with the spacers that you guys put in for me, which thank you very much, Justin, putting in the spacers for me. Have you driven a machine that has spacers?
I actually hadn't. I've recommended spacers to a lot of people. We see a lot of people online talking about them all the time, but your tractor is actually the first one that I've seen in the flesh that has spacers on it. Generally, the one thing that we're concerned about when we do that is that our clearances around the mower deck and everything are still okay. There's some tractors where these scalp wheels are set back in further on the deck. And when you put those spacers on it, it can actually make the wheel come out in contact with the scalp wheel. But you have,
looks like there's maybe an 1.5 inches here.
You've got a solid inch and a half the whole way around the wheel still. So yeah, I don't have any concerns. Kubota doesn't have a factory wheel spacer for the BX, but they do have factory spacers for most of the other ones. And by and large, we haven't seen a whole lot of concerns from them on like torsion loads and stuff across the back axle and that kind of thing. So I can't see a whole lot of reason not to at this point, and especially with your hills and stuff, you'll be happy for that, particularly with the added weight from the cab up high.
Are they loaded, Justin?
Yes, they are loaded.
What kind of fluid does Messick's put in there?
We use basically like an RV winterizer. It's like a car windshield washer fluid.
Oh, okay.
pH neutral and doesn't damage your rim.
Cool. Anything else we want to talk about?
You want to go through taking the loader and backhoe on and off or not? So leave that for you to do.
Yeah, I'll do it because I want to do like a first time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just got finished watching Neil do it, so let me see if I can do it.
Yeah.
So
good.
Okay.
I'll do that myself. Take it on and off, and then I'll take it on and off and try to put it on those dollies as well.
Biggest thing is just take your time and make sure you're straight. If it's fighting you, it's because something's not straight.
Yep. Okay. It should be a little different because reaching through these guys here.
It'd make it a little harder to get the release. Make sure you have your loader bucket on when you do it. You have to have weight on the front or it'll fall back into the tractor.
Yeah, my mechanic that I brought it back with no loader bucket, he's like, hey, where's the loader bucket if I'm switching loaders?
Yeah.
And taking the third function off.
We can go through some basic maintenance.
Okay, it's my first diesel.
Okay.
So I had a Craftsman Sears model, and then this is gas.
Okay. So we'll talk through some of the ins and outs of diesel, and we'll go through basic.
Do you want to pop the hood from inside since it's...
I gotta do it from the other side.
You still running?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, come on this
Okay.
side. Okay.
So some of the ins and outs of backhoe loader stuff we're going to leave to you to make some videos on. So normally for most guys we would go through and actually step through those things in your driveway to make sure you know what you're doing. But
We want to do a Kubota Monster first and see how much I can screw it up.
we will take some time on maintenance. Okay, so new diesel engine for you, which is cool. I am a huge proponent of diesel and as much stuff as we can put it in. I'll tell you, garden tractors, zero turn mowers, you name it, everything that we sell is better with diesel. All right, it just is. A couple new things: if you've had gas engines in the past, you need to keep in mind your fuel gelling. Right, so by and large, if you're buying your diesel from a gas station down the road, it's going to have anti-gel in it for the most part. But if you're, say, when you have your tractor out here in your shed and it's not at least in a heated garage or something, it's not a bad idea to add a little bit more anti-gel additive to that just to keep the thing from freezing up.
Right into the fuel tank?
Right in the fuel tank,
Okay.
or into your gas tanks or whatever. If it happens to gel up, you generally can see that in a bigger tractor in the oil, in the fuel filter first. But in this, your fuel filters are kind of harder to see. They're down on the machine. But you'll notice the machine starving for fuel and that kind of thing if that happens. But that little, it's like $12 to treat 250 gallons is like cheap insurance, right? Other than that, it's going to have glow plugs on it on a blazing hot day like today. You don't need them, just crank the thing and go. Once you get down to about 40 degrees or so, just a couple seconds on the glow plugs before you crank the engine over and it'll kick off and go.
If you guys can't tell, we're melting out here.
Melting. Okay.
Okay.
Radiator draws this direction from the front of the tractor back here, so you have a pre-screen right back in here. Most of your chaff and stuff will get caught up around your feet, but if it happens to make it through, it hits this first, and then your air cleaner is inside of this. So the air is actually getting cleaned like through 2 screens before it even makes it to the air cleaner box.
Okay.
That tends to make the air cleaners on a BX last for a really long time. Now, generally the factory says about 100 hours on changing these things. That can really vary a lot from person to person, just depending on how dusty things are. If you're predominantly out here in grass, you might get a lot more than 100 hours out of an air cleaner.
Okay.
But you want to pop those out and just kind of visually look at them every once in a while and make sure they're not plugged up. You'll see there's a oil filter down on the side of the engine over there, and a little knobby thing coming out the side for the check.
Okay.
So those are there. Your first service on this is going to be at 50 hours. Number one most important service you will do on a tractor is the 50-hour service. When you do that, if you split the filter open, you'll find all kinds of scary looking stuff in the inside, mostly like metal filings or things starting to break in, or liquid gaskets are used in putting a lot of the pieces together, so you get some liquid gasket material in there. So
you know, you just said metal filings and it's on video, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's in it. It's not. It's every piece of equipment that we work on and we sell, regardless of the manufacturer. You're going to see a really early first service interval.
Okay.
Because you're trying to get that stuff out of there, right? It's expected and intended, really, for the most part. So yeah, doing that 50 hours is really important.
Okay.
So that's most of your engine stuff down there. Pretty straightforward.
Okay.
You also have oil in your front axle. There's a little yellow check plug right here at the top. Okay. When you look at these things, this Super UDT is basically clear. You more or less got to touch it with your finger in order to be able to see where it's at.
Okay.
So you've got oil up there as well. Good idea to check them periodically. You don't have to do it all the time. If you see a puddle in your garage, check the fluids. Right? Okay. But it's not burning and consuming these things generally. Hydraulic fluid in check is going to be that yellow guy right here at the back. Okay. So your one rear reservoir there runs through the rest of the tractor. So all the fluid that's in the loader and the backhoe and the transmission is all this one large reservoir in the back. Okay. So again, same deal. Pull that out. Okay. It's the same fluid that's in the front axle. Now, because you lose a little bit of this as you take implements on and off, you know, every time you open up those couplers, a little fluid comes out. There's probably an excess gallon of hydraulic fluid in the back of the tractor. So you don't got to stress about little bits coming out, but periodically put eyes on it and just make sure it's not dropped too low.
Okay.
When you go around your loader or your backhoe, probably the single most regular thing that we like to see guys doing is hitting all the grease zerks with a grease gun. About every 10 hours of use of your loader or backhoe, you're going to want to run around and hit every one of these. And every one of our sales guys will tell you, we can tell the difference. We know. All right.
Who's been neglecting the machine and who hasn't?
If you go to trade your tractor in, even with 100, 200 hours on it, you will be able to grab these pivot points and shake them and see slop even after that short amount of time. So every 10 hours or so, they're going to tell you with the grease gun, run around and hit all those zerks. It is probably one of the most frequently neglected things that we see. So that's kind of a maintenance crash course, right? 50 hours is your big change. Check where your dipsticks are at. Know to run around with the grease gun, particularly loader, mower, deck, backhoe places. All of your drive shafts are going to have zerks on them. So there's a lot, right? So you're going to want to familiarize yourself the first couple times you do that of exactly where all those little buggers are at. Options wise, probably the most obvious thing that you picked up on this that not everybody has done or really seen a whole lot of, frankly, because there's not a lot of them out there, is the cab. You will hear me talk down about add-on cabs, but this is really one of the better ones. They are getting better, let's say that, as years have gone by. We're kind of getting past the rattly old cage with the canvas doors and that kind of stuff. So when you look at the construction of this, you'll see a lot more like welded parts and that kind of stuff. There's not so much loose stuff on it to rattle and shake around. Also a lot of cool things in order to make these things tolerable in the summertime. So you could take the doors off of this really easy. You can see the roof pops up in the back. The windshield will pop out with these little releases right here. So you don't have to sit in your sweat box over here and really make it worse, which is what a lot of these add-on cabs end up being, you know. But this is nice. Obviously, this is a Kubota branded product, but it's made by Curtis. Yes. Everybody pretty well knows that at this point. They do Kubota's cab structures that they offer for all of their tractors. Good company. They make a lot of good stuff.
Seems like they got together on this one though, and sort of put their brains together on this
yes.
cab, right?
This is a little bit better, and Curtis continues to offer some other cab options too.
This is like real life, guys. You know, sometimes
Live.
The phone rings.
Right. Yeah, Kubota offers other cabs for this tractor too that are outside of this particular one, but they're not. This one's good. It really is a step ahead of most of the other cabs that we see out there.
So that's it, guys. I got my walk around on my new Kubota Monster from Mr. Messick. Mr. Messick's himself, Neil here. Thank you so much again, and I can't wait to start playing with the new machine. You guys are going to see it first as I do things first, so it should be an interesting journey. And but the machine is here safe, and the walk around is done, and now it's time to go play in the dirt.
We're happy to get you started. So
thank you so much.
Looking forward to watching you learn this as we go.
Me too. So take care, guys, and we'll see you next time. And make sure you check out Neil on the Messick's YouTube channel, and also at Messicks.com for beautiful tractors like this, parts, servicing, and
Pete, you know my closing.
Yeah. 800-222-3373.
There you go. We watch it enough. And thanks to my salesman Justin for doing the camera work, and we'll see you next time.